Hello, vinyl community. Andrew, um, and I want to make a video. Um, in fact, when I decided I'd start making videos, this was one of the first things I thought of doing. I wanted to make a video featuring my among my favorite musical artists, and his name is Barre Phillips. He's a bass player. So, this is a biased video. I play the bass, strictly amateur level. But over the years, because I'm so into him and his recordings and what he does with the instrument and his music, I've been able to, track down a lot of stuff over the years. Not too many records, because the records he's on are, it's rare, it's hard to find. He was an ECM recording artist, so I've got, I think, most of the stuff he did for ECM. And then I've got tons of CDs where he's like a sideman, or else he's the, the leader of the project. So yeah, hope, I hope there's some interest in this, because it's, bass players unfortunately aren't too often in the spotlight, but I think his music is really worth, bass player or not, just music fan, any music fan I think could appreciate much of the stuff he does. So I'll start here with a couple records. I think these will be appropriate to show first because apparently this recording here, Barre Phillips Journal Violon, is the very first solo bass recording ever made. This one was done in 1968. If I'm not mistaken, I think it had something to do with he was commissioned, I think. In fact, it's all in the liner notes, I think, here. He was commissioned by a filmmaker to, just play the bass, and the filmmaker, I think, the idea behind it was to just edit pieces and little snippets and stuff for the film he was making. But then when he heard the finished project, I think he was so blown away that he just said, "Shit, I'm not going to take any of this. This needs to be heard, in its entirety, the way you recorded it." So then Barre Phillips put it out, released it. This is the same exact recording. This is the German version. Barre. I know some people call him Barry. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly. I've always called him Barre. Here's the Futura label, which has probably been shown before. German pressing. Really cool to have this. And the first one, the U.S. pressing, was on this label here, which is kind of nice too. Opus 1. And I first heard about Barre Phillips in this very book, hardly a booklet. This well-thumbed copy here, The Penguin Guide to Jazz, that everyone's, not everyone, but many are familiar with. This one's from '94, and the entry in here on him that I just came across back in '94 when I had this, just sounded like something I would love, and sure enough, I sampled a CD or two, and that was it. I just had to collect. Here's my favorite ECM record that he did. This is much later in his career. I think this one's been shown. Mountainscapes. This is the U.S. copy. I have a German copy that's... Oh wait, this one is my German copy. Yeah, this one's a little bit beat. My U.S. copy is better. I always thought this was a really cool cover with the the rust kind of coloring and the markings, almost like you know, contemporary music notation or something. But I think they're just natural scratches on whatever this thing is here. Typical ECM covers. Very nice. So he's a avant-garde, you know, jazz, free jazz, you know, experimenter, you know, tonality explorer. You know, he does everything on the bass. It's quite fascinating, really. Here's a cool one he's on with Leonard Bernstein and the New York Philharmonic. Great cover. And there's like an improvised jazz thing on here that he kind of takes a quick little solo. It's really neat. Apparently Bernstein is, you know, conducting this improv, so I don't know. It would have been interesting to see that live. This ECM, I want to show this one. This one is super rare. Barre Phillips, Call Me When You Get There. It's solo bass. Look at that, it's cool, like a little map with directions or something. And this is a German pressing. I ordered this. I got this many years ago online. I was looking for it forever. In fact, in the Penguin Guide, they refer to this album, and since I read the entry so many times, I memorized it. They said it's galling to note that Phillips's best record is still out of catalog. So they never it's never been on CD before, and the vinyl pressing is very rare. So I was really lucky to track this down, and it's awesome. It's incredible. Just like what I described, he's just playing the bass. I think there's a few tracks with some overdubs, and most of it's just, it sounds like off the cuff soloing with a great sound, and tons of arco with the bow, and just exploiting the potential of the bass to the pushing it to the limits, really. It's what he does. Awesome. Here was kind of an oddball one. I found this in a thrift store. This is the kind of thing you'd see in a thrift store and try to just flip right by it. But I knew that he had played on a Peter Nero record, so whenever I see Peter Nero in the thrifts, I always check the credits, and sure enough, this is the one. So Barre Phillips is on this. And this one's just a straight ahead jazz date, standards. Peter Nero, I'm guessing, probably paid him well to go on tour with him or something. Yeah, so Barre Phillips, he, as far as I know, lived most of his life in San Francisco, and then he moved to France because I guess he knew that his music, or at least had a feeling that his music would be, more accepted, I think, by European audiences, and he stayed there, so he must have been right, because I think that's still where he is today. He's must be pretty old now. I mean, I think he's still playing. I think this one's been shown before. Cherry Riptall, what comes after? This one's cool. It's a promotion. You can see there, promotional. It has the cool little description there, insert, that ECMs, don't really have very often. But I think that's just because this one's a promotional copy. Another thing I want to point out too, because I was such a fan, I wrote him a letter. I'm not sure how I got the address or how I knew where to send it, but and then I got a response too. So you can see it's from France. Unfortunately, the response wasn't from him. It was from his wife. who handles all of his business affairs. I was just, it's like a fanboy letter. I think I was just asking about his recordings. They're so hard to find. How can I get more? And she responded. So he was away teaching, I guess. That's what she says in the letter. So that would have been cool if he wrote me back. Maybe he'll watch this video. Wouldn't that be cool? He's a YouTube member. Let me show some CDs real quick here, because I'm probably going to run out of time. I got some really cool CDs he's on. This is a duo with Barry Guy, Arcus. Cool photos there. Cool looking CD too, actually. They recorded this, I think, in some church in France. Some old concrete church, with the, so you get all the natural echo and reverb and stuff. Here's the later issue of that same recording. It's really nice artwork also. Maya, the Maya label. It's a great label, Maya Recordings. Here's kind of an oddball one. Jean-Bernard Leflic. I guess just he's playing with a bunch of French musicians here on the Plains Fair label, made in Switzerland. Tons of ECM stuff. Look at that lineup there. Paul Bley, Evan Parker. This is awesome. I also have this is incredible, a DVD that he does. I just stumbled across this. I remember I was just looking on Amazon, as I check Barre Phillips fairly regularly on there, and there was a DVD coming out, so of course I immediately ordered it, and it took about a month to get it. And this was the first time I really got to watch him play, and he's unbelievable. The things he does, it's just fascinating. Incredible music and musicianship too. This is a cool ECM. Don't see this one too often. Journal of Violone 2. And you can see there in recording in some old abandoned space there in France probably or something. This one has a singer on it. It's John Sermon, soprano, baritone, saxophones, bass, clarinet, and then Aina Kemanis on vocals. So that gives you an idea of the extremes. He's into the extremes, I think, with the high-pitched soprano singing, and then of course him on the bass. He's just all about exploring sound and textures and stuff like that. Show a few more CDs here. Time's running out. This is a great one with Derek Bailey on guitar on the Incus label. It's called Figuring. Yeah, this one's awesome. Probably one of the greatest, among the great duo recordings, improv recordings I've ever heard, really. Once Company, they do these company events in Europe where they just kind of gather tons of improvisers together and just kind of pair them up and see what results, and they record them. So there's a whole series of these. I wish I had more. He's on the Naked Lunch soundtrack. Ornette Coleman. Barre Phillips plays on here. Some great. This is a great soundtrack. Highly recommended. All right, Barre Phillips. There you go. Enjoy.